Erik is joining us. I believe he's somewhere in the outskirts of Pennsylvania. Erik, are you there?
I'm here.
Erik, where are you? What part of the world?
I'm in Philadelphia right now in the Arts District.
Okay, what's that mean? What's the Arts District like in Philadelphia?
Not unlike LA or Wynwood. It's an old industrial area with turn of the century industrial brick buildings that have now been converted to artist lofts, creative spaces, and we're here with the Cohere lab and agency where we're helping to sort of redevelop this area and change the narrative.
Now you started over here and then moved to New York.
I did. I moved to New York to open Tender Greens, and the intention was just to be in New York for 2 or 3 months and then come back to LA. But I fell in love, not with the weather, but with my now partner and the founder of Cohere, Antoinette Marie Johnson, and decided to stay here. And I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so I bought a small farm. We're growing hemp. We're growing some native flowers for the cut floral market, and some ancient heirlooms for our food lab.
Well, Erik, Glenn, John, a bunch of people that are inside this chat from my 50th birthday party going back 4 years ago. They surprised me. They did a surprise birthday party for me in Peru, Machu Picchu, which is incredible. But hanging out with you, Erik, what was insanely enlightening was you were all excited about all the different types of foods, from the 800 varieties of potatoes that were sitting inside just the area we were, to even like a soup, which I cannot find anywhere else, which is this garlic soup we had.
Delicious.
God, I love that soup. Or you had, which was guinea pig.
Right, in all forms.
In all forms, guinea pig. They serve it on the street corner. Lon Ray would go over there and just eat them like crazy. It was crazy, but it was an amazing trip. Now, in this process, something we started to see along the way was, even in this incredibly rich environment to grow stuff, we started seeing some hydroponics along the way.
That's right.
Why would you do a hydroponics in an environment that is perfect for growing stuff? And you said is because there's more control.
Right.
And hydroponics, especially during this lockdown period, might be one of the coolest things to start getting involved with. Talk to us about hydroponics.
Yeah, do you want, I have a few slides if you want to see them.
Show us your screen. Show us your screen, buddy.
See if you can see it. Do you see anything?
Yep, share your screen. There you go.
See that?
Yeah, what do you got?
All right, so hydroponics is super important. To your point, one, you can control the environment, so it's climate agnostic. So you can grow it in the desert, you can grow it in the Arctic, everything in between, whether it's winter, whether it's Palm Springs, it doesn't matter. So you can grow year round. It's also incredibly predictable, which there's nothing about farming that's predictable, and that's why we have this industrialized food system with genetically modified crops and monocropping, which we don't want. So you can grow a diverse range of products under controlled conditions with predictable outcomes, and that's really important. Whether you're at home or, more importantly, as you scale up into the commercial use. I also think it's awesome for education, bringing food and farming closer to the people. And we use it at our restaurants, both in New York and in Los Angeles, so that people are invited into the conversation. I think it's great in classrooms, and it's great for the home, so that you can literally put a system next to your kitchen. It's also zero impact, essentially. So there's no negative impact on the environment. And also, being here in this industrial zone, you can create a green economy essentially in a gray zone, rather than going out.
Erik,
and
are you moving through slides, or are you still on the same slide?
No, I'm just I'm sort of going down the the why of hydroponics, and so this is me, and a little bit about my background and how I came to hydroponics. It was about a decade ago, and I had a small farmer down in San Diego who had an aquaponic system, very small, and it just blew my mind. And I went down this rabbit hole of discovery, both first on aquaponics and on hydroponics, and saw that there was a future in this because it really does solve for some of the problems that we have in agriculture. And for tender greens, it was an opportunity to scale the California growing system beyond California, again, because it's climate agnostic. It was a great way to market and to talk about what we were doing in supply chain innovation. And ultimately, as we suffered through the drought, it was really important as an additive to our California supply chain. Just a real quick note on aquaponics and hydroponics. The difference is aquaponics uses fish, and hydroponics would be inputs that are either organic or not, but you essentially feed the water in hydroponics with nutrients, and with aquaponics, it's the fish waste that offers the nitrogen and the other nutrients for the plants. The plants suck that up and give back to the fish clean water. It's very hard to scale up at a commercial level, but at residential or classroom, I love aquaponics as an example of how the closed loop system works. The other subcategory to hydroponics is aeroponics. And the only difference really there is with hydroponics, you're running water, nutrient-dense water over the root systems, and aeroponics, you're misting the root systems. It's a little bit more complex, harder to do at home, but on scaled up, like with Aero Farms in New Jersey, it provides really, really intense, flavorful, resilient plants. And I love this system for the more sophisticated commercial applications. Now I just want to go, Ken, you had asked me to talk a little bit about how you can set up a hydroponic system at home. There are 4 that I'm going to...
looking at doing, we went and started pricing stuff out. You can get stuff that's $1,000, but if you start doing yourself, the price drops dramatically.
It does. If, it's like anything. If you are a tinkerer, if you, it's a little bit like setting up a home brew system. Yeah, you go to one of these hydroponic stores, you can go to Home Depot, you can go anywhere and buy the kits or mix and match, and then just take an afternoon or so and build it and learn as you go. And there's going to be a lot of failure. There's going to be a lot of tinkering, but it's sort of a fun system to set up, and then you can design it around your own aesthetic and customize it around the space that you have. That's really for outdoor use, unless you really, really are sort of have an engineering mind. So Ken, for a big patio like yours, great. But for me, where we're growing inside in Philadelphia, New York, I need grow lights. So the next step is if you're not a tinkerer, then this is what we used at Tender Greens. This is the next generation. It's a company called Let Us Grow out of El Segundo. And it's part of the Farm Project. It's a nonprofit. These are kind of elegant systems. The water is pumped to the top of the system, and then it cascades down over the root systems. You can grow anything, and you can use any grow matter in there. You can either make your own organic sort of compost liquor to put in there for the nutrients, or you can buy stuff off the shelf, and it ranges from conventional to organic. This one retails at $4.99. It doesn't have any grow lights for LA, where it's kind of beautiful year round. This is really good, limited footprint, light, easy to assemble. So if you're not a build it yourself, this is a really good sort of entry garden, and it's going to produce a lot of food. They have 3 different versions. The next one is put out by Garden. Now this one has grow lights, full spectrum. This is actually what I have behind me in my lab. It's about $800. Not that bad when you consider the cost of the grow lights. It has 2 cameras on it. It has an app, and it can be managed remotely from the headquarters if you want. It is literally plug and play. You can source the seeds from Garden, which makes it easy because these seeds have been developed for hydroponics versus soil. So I've had this system for about a month and like it. So far it's just really easy, low maintenance. The last one I wanted to list off is, this is a bit of, is sort of the Range Rover of home hydroponic systems. This is from Farm Shelf. Full disclosure, I sit on their board. They're based in Brooklyn, in new labs, super high tech. Each of the lights are programmed, so depending on what you're growing, you can have 8 different grow zones with light algorithms that optimize the conditions for those particular crops that you're growing, the airflow, temperature control. This is essentially the same system that you would find in a shipping container or a larger warehouse vertical farm at the commercial level. The issue with this is you need a big house or a big office. It's about $4,000. They started at about $7,000. Jose Andreas has a bunch of these. I have a bunch in New York. And underneath it has propagation shelves. So you can source your own seeds, propagate those, and then transfer them to the growing shelves. And this output is insane. So you can grow a lot of food. It's expensive. It's about the size of a 2-door reach-in cooler. So it's heavy, and the lights are a little weird and futuristic, and some would say obnoxious. So this is, for home use, it's probably in the garage or the basement, unless you're really sort of techie. The lighting's not soft, though you can control it and dim it. So beyond that, then we get into commercial. And if for those of you who took the tour of Local Roots a few years ago with me, shipping container, those are about $100,000 to get off the ground, plug and play, super sophisticated. And that's about 5 acres worth of food.
Erik, you gave me this presentation. I'm going to put it inside the portal. I'm looking at one to build about $150. And there'll be 4 rows, and we've kind of situated it. And knowing that the first is the worst, generally it's not the best one is the first one. But I think a nominal investment, like $150 is pretty amazing. The biggest problem, Erik, is seeds.
Yeah, well, you have to experiment a little bit. So either you can get seeds from a hydroponic grow source that are sort of designed for hydroponics. I've done a bunch of work with, in partnership with USDA, Seed Savers Exchange, and the Crop Trust, where we grew ancient amaranth in these farm shelves. Those are not designed at all for hydroponics. I collaborated with the plant scientists and PhDs at Farm Shelf so that we could unlock the magic of these plants. But I grew them to the point where they started to hit the lights, and then transplanted them at my farm in soil in Pennsylvania, and they thrived.
Erik, I'm going to take this presentation, I'm going to upload it to the portal. I really appreciate you hanging out with us and giving us this insight. You're going to love our next guest. You know where our next guest is?
No. Oh, Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
How's that? Now, you just kind of grew it to the next level. But Erik, hey, anyone out in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, go find Erik, hang out with him. He knows probably the best restaurants out in Philadelphia by now, right? You know all the best restaurants?
Well, they're all closed now. So
well, you know when they open,
the best restaurants coming to my kitchen when you can.
That's it. I want to do that. Erik, thanks a lot for giving us this information.
Thank you, guys.